Hi everyone, welcome to Coffee and Crochet. It has been quite a while since I've been on here, probably since like Christmas. I think I did a Christmas sort of roundup of different holiday projects way back in December. It is now the last day of March. Happy Easter to those that celebrate, and to those that don't, happy Sunday, happy weekend. It is a beautiful day, a little bit chillier than what we've had recently. We had some gorgeous weather in February, like unseasonably warm weather. It got everybody excited for the spring, and then the temperature dropped. So now we're like in the 50s, which is not horrible. At least the sun is out for now. We are supposed to get some rain. We'll see. Hopefully it stays nice though for those that have Easter egg hunts outside and that kind of fun stuff. I've got my coffee. We are going to talk about spring. I am so excited for the spring and the summer, but let's not forget about the spring. The spring is honestly one of my favorite times of the year just because everything is blooming and blossoming. So I much prefer this like 50s, 60s, 70s kind of weather when the sun starts coming out and everything is just blooming. It's super pretty. So spring projects. Let me know what everybody's working on during these spring months or spring weeks. I'm going to show you some projects that I have done in the past that are kind of spring related. And I'm also going to show you a couple things, at least one thing that I am working on that's sort of a spring summer project, and I'm hoping to have a tutorial of that up very soon. So first off, really simple, quick projects. Appliques for garlands. I have quite a few appliques up on my channel. I will list or link the playlist for that and everything that I talk about today down below so you can check that out. So we are in March Madness, which means we have the basketball applique. Now these are really fun to make for somebody that likes basketball or sports in general, because you can make a whole bunch of different sports themed appliques and either stick them on blankets or on a bag or string them all up into a garland. So this is just a very simple basketball. To go along with that, we have just started the baseball season, so I have a baseball here too. Like I said, really simple. You can sew them right on to really anything that you want, or you can string them all up into a garland and you've got a sporty garland. I also have a football, an American football, on my channel as well, and that's in the playlist down below too. I didn't include this here because we're sort of out of football season, but you could easily include it in as part of like the sporty garland. I am working on a soccer ball, and that one has thrown me for quite a loop. I have been working on this for like months, and I think I have an idea, and I go and I crochet it up, and it doesn't work. Or it's not quite soccer ball-y enough. I made one that literally looks like a black and white flower. Not so much a soccer ball. So I am still working on the soccer ball, but I have a few other sporty appliques up if you're interested in one of those. Next, we have flowers and berries and leaves. Here is my flower and leaf continuous crochet garland. So there's the flower here, and you just crochet a chain, and as you're working along the chain, you create these little motifs along that chain. So there's no ends to weave in. Now the only thing with this is that you are using the same color yarn, the same yarn that you started with. So, I like to use these sort of variegated yarns just because it gives a little bit of a color mix up, but you could easily just use one color for all of these. And that is one of my continuous garland patterns. I also have a continuous heart garland, a snowflake. I think I have a Irish four-leaf clover. So these are really fun because you don't have to weave in your ends and they go really fast. Next, we have the Granny Berry. So this is like a strawberry or even a raspberry. I make them as garlands a lot of the time. This one I just attached a little keychain hook so it can be a keychain for a backpack. And they're really fun and they're really easy and they're quick because you're just working that granny shell and you just increase or decrease as you're working it. Works up really fast. I can make a bunch of these in, I don't know, an hour or so, and then you string them up on a chain garland and you've got a nice garland. And all of these garland patterns and these type of things, if you do a lot of craft shows or craft markets, things like that, where you're trying to sell something but you need something kind of quick to crochet. A lot of people do like stuffed animals and things, which are super cute, but for me that takes way too much time, more time than I have available. Something like this is really nice because it doesn't take the maker quite as long to make it, and the buyer is like, oh, this is so cute, and it's good home decor if you're, making it into a garland or whatever. So I highly recommend stuff like that for craft shows and farmers markets and things like that. These are my Primrose Flowers, and I've made a whole bunch and strung them up into a garland. I think I've got a purple one here. So they're really so pretty. And the flowers themselves don't take long. So again, a really fun project to work, especially if you're new to crochet, or like I said, if you need to make a whole bunch of something to have something in your storefront. These are really cute and easy, and they just make really springy sort of feel to wherever you are and wherever you hang them. So I've got a whole bunch. They're all kind of tangled together on these chains, but they're just super pretty. Daisy flower in a granny. So I made these probably about a year ago, and I still haven't put them into their own project. So I have a whole bunch of just freestanding daisy granny squares that I need to do something with. I'm thinking of doing a nice spring kind of blanket, or even just a throw to put on the back of a couch or something like that, because they're super pretty and I'm always struggling with color. I tend to just kind of pick the colors that I like, and that's kind of what I did here, and surprisingly they all kind of go together. I'm actually really happy with the colors that I picked, but now I'm probably going to need to buy some more yarn, and I don't remember what these colors were, so that's also an issue. Next, we've got bags and baskets. One of my favorite baskets that I have on this channel is the granny base. So it's a granny base bottom basket. This one is so easy, especially if you don't like working in the round, increasing, like if you're doing single crochet or half double crochet or whatever, and you have to keep track of how many you need to increase to get to the total base number of stitches that you need. This one is really nice because you can just work that granny shell and make a granny square as big as you want the base to be, and then you're just working around into every stitch all the way up, and you get a really nice basket. Now I could have made it taller, but I didn't want a super tall basket, and actually this basket is where I store these. So if you're looking for kind of fun and cute ways to store some of your extra crochet stuff or knitting stuff or whatever, sometimes these baskets are really nice for that. And then I just sort of added little flowers to the sides just to kind of spring it up. The next baskets that I have are these little Easter baskets. I just put a tutorial out on these earlier this week, I think. These are really cute. I made these for my niece and my nephew who are away on spring break right now, but when they get back, they'll have a little basket and I'm going to fill it with, I don't know, candy or little goodies. So there's the little bunny on it. It's a really simple kind of, you do a few rounds of increase and then we work the moss stitch, single crochet moss stitch all the way up, single crochet for the handle, and then I just added a little applique. You don't have to do Easter, you don't have to do a bunny. You could put a baseball or a basketball on one of these if you have a sports fan. But they're just kind of little mini baskets. Now, I made them for Easter, but you could put a flower on it and make them for spring or a little May Day basket or something like that. Really fast. I think I made one of these in less than an hour, and that was just working straight through. Not working super fast, just, working on it. And these baskets are 3 strands held together. This one I believe is as well. I try to do most of my baskets at least 3 strands. I think I have a little like pen holder that I only use 2 strands, but I can't remember. But I like to use the 3 strands held together just because it gives a nice firm basket feel. And because we're in the spring, we're going to start seeing all of those fun farmers markets popping up. And what better than a market bag? So this market bag I just worked up with some extra 24/7 cotton yarn that I had. And actually, you can probably see it's a little discolored here. So I'm not quite sure if that was how it was when I bought it. I'm not sure because I stored it with the rest of my cotton yarn and I'm not sure how it would have gotten discolored like that. I'm going to throw it in the wash and see if I can bleach it out or wash it out a little bit. This was just sort of my initial testing blanket to see how it would work up. So I don't know if you've noticed on my channel, but we are doing a lot of filet crochet. This is a filet crochet market bag, and I have worked a butterfly pattern into both sides, which I absolutely love. I am loving this filet crochet. There are so many different things you can do with it, and it's not complicated once you kind of get the idea of how these patterns are set up. So I basically just went on Stitch Fiddle, and I'll link that website down below, created the butterfly graph, and then worked it into the bag. The hardest part of this bag is just getting the initial base stitch count to match up with how many stitches I needed for the graph to work on both sides. So I am working it up again. I'm being a tester for myself, and I'm working it up now in this sugar and cream, and this color is Beach Ball Blue. So I'm almost done with this little ball here, but it's a nice kind of blue, purple, green, kind of spring summery, I guess. And so I just have to work the top edge and the strap, and then this one will be done, and I will hopefully be able to get a tutorial out maybe this week, in the next couple of weeks, I'd say. But I absolutely love how this is working up. Now it's kind of hard to see that butterfly image in the variegated. I was initially going to use this in the tutorial, but the variegated yarn, sometimes it's hard to see because it's so busy. I'm going to use just a solid cotton yarn for when I'm actually doing the tutorial. But these bags are so nice, and honestly, they don't take very long at all. I made this up yesterday, probably in just a couple hours, and that was me typing out the pattern and making sure that the pattern and the numbers and everything was working. Because it's just a mesh stitch, it works up really fast. I highly recommend market bags, and I'm hoping to have a whole bunch more fun market bags tutorials on my channel, hopefully in the summer. But this will be my first one that I actually put out there and hopefully you guys like it. Talking about filet crochet, we are doing the 2024 crochet along calendar blanket all in filet crochet. So we're creating these squares for each month, and then at the end of the year, we'll put them all together, put a nice border on, and we'll have a filet crochet blanket. So in January, we have the snowflake. February, we have the heart. March, we had the clover leaf. April's video is coming tomorrow morning, April 1st at probably like 8 a.m. Central Time. I have a bonus square up, which is a birthday cake, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of other bonus squares patterns as I have time. I would like to have enough bonus squares to add in here and there in the blanket. So if you want a much bigger blanket than just the 12 squares, you can add in those bonus squares as well. One thing with these squares is that I am doing filet crochet where the image is where the spaces are. You can also reverse that and, like I'm doing for the market bag, have the background be the spaces and that image created with the double crochets. So this butterfly is done in the blocks or the double crochet stitches, and the background is that mesh, double crochet, chain two, skip two, double crochet, that mesh stitch. And then you really can see that image better, I think, when it is like this. Sometimes, this one you can kind of tell what it is, but like the birthday cake especially, it's a little bit harder because you can't quite tell, and it could just be because I used the variegated yarn, but I wanted a different square for like a special, like birthday, indicate that there was a special square here. So I don't know, it could just be the variegated yarn, you can't tell. I'm thinking about doing a version 2 of all of these squares and reversing it. So having the background be the mesh stitch and the actual image be those double crochets. I don't know, we'll see if I have time. I definitely think that it is worth looking at. The only thing that would change, obviously, you'd have to reverse the blocks and the spaces on those graphs. But the only other major change is your foundation chain row, because you would be creating a space directly off of your chain. And so I think you'd have to add an extra couple stitches and then work back into like the 5th or 6th chain away from the hook. I haven't quite figured that out, at least not for this pattern specifically. But I'm definitely thinking about doing that. So if that's something that you're interested in, having these sort of done in reverse, where the image is created with the blocks instead of the spaces, let me know. Put a comment down below in the description box, and if I get enough interest, maybe I will. All right, 2 more projects for spring. We kind of got off track there, but that's my fault. I have the really simple corner to corner shawl, and this one was done in Ferris wheel yarn, and just look how pretty that is. It's just a corner to corner shawl, and you can make it as big as you want, and you just increase, there's no decreasing. So you're just working a very big triangle, but I love how that yarn looks, like it's so pretty. And then we just do kind of a scallopy little edge all around. So that's a nice, quick, easy, mindless project to do for the spring as well. And I've got a spring baby blanket that I just put out a tutorial for. This is the Chutes and Ladders baby blanket made with Lion Brand ice cream yarn, which I absolutely love. I can't get enough of this ice cream yarn. Super easy pattern. I'm putting it as a spring type blanket because it does have these ladders here. So it's more of an open kind of blanket. It's not super dense. It's not super heavy. I wouldn't consider this like a winter type blanket. You could also use this for summer and fall, of course. And then the border is just sort of little baubles We've got some single crochet, and then I added some bobbles in the middle row there. And these bobbles, super easy. You chain and then you work back, and you're not wrapping, around your hook 20 times. So it's a little bit quicker than creating your standard kind of bobble stitch. Really easy, fun blanket. I worked this up in a couple weeks on and off, so it took me a little bit longer, but if I had stuck with it and worked it straight through, I could have finished it probably in a weekend or at least a week. I do have another blanket tutorial coming out really soon. I just have to finish it. It's just taking a while. I've been all over the place, scatterbrained with different projects that I want to do and work up, and I don't have time. So I'm coming out with that pattern and that tutorial. I'm hoping in the next 2-3 weeks maybe. It's a super fun baby blanket. You can make it into a larger blanket, a throw blanket, whatever you wanted, really. It's very similar to my Jelly Bean baby blanket. It has some similar aspects, different stitches, but it kind of plays along that same, you've got one stitch that is, I think for the Jelly Bean baby blanket, I used the bead stitch, and then I separated that by some half double crochet rows, so it really made those bead stitches pop. This blanket that I'm working on now, same concept, different stitches, but same concept, separating the eye-catching stitch rows by just a regular basic stitch really accentuates that more fancy other stitch in the blanket. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be finished with it. I can get the tutorial up, and I hope you guys enjoy that one too. Finally, I am working on creating squares for every book that I read this year. January started out really rough for me, I guess. I was not motivated to crochet or knit or do anything crafty. I don't know what my problem was. I was just, I think, burned out and just exhausted. Bunch of other stuff going on. We had some really cold weather, and we had some water pipes crack, and it was like one thing after the other. I just was like, okay, I'm done. I've had it. I can't even right now. So I started listening to audiobooks, thinking that if I did that, because I love to read, but I can't read a physical book and crochet or do anything crafty at the same time. So I was thinking that if I started listening to these audiobooks, I could crochet as I'm doing that. And so to kind of get my crojo back, I decided to create a blanket for the year of all the books that I've read. So I just created miter granny squares. I did a whole bunch more reading in January. So here's all my January squares right here. February, quite a few less. And March, it's going to tend towards this one and not this one. So I put out videos each month for the books that I read, and I kind of give you a little bit of an insight as to what they're about. And I show you the squares that go along with each book, and I give you the rating on the book. And that's just my personal feeling on the books. Some books I really like, some books I don't. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm not going to go pick up another book by that author. Just means I didn't really like that particular book. In order to keep all of these squares in order, I went ahead, I stacked them in the order that I read. So here's the first one that I think I listened to. Quite a few of these in January were audiobooks. I put them all in order, stacked them up, and I tied some extra yarn that I had. I tied it around so I could keep them straight. Otherwise, some of these squares I find I'm doing the same kind of color scheme with, and I'd be like, I don't remember what book that goes to. So here's my February. Again, I've tied it off like that, and I'm keeping them in one of these bags. I think these are like those bags that you get when you get sheets or pillowcases or something. Super handy. I love these. Keeps everything kind of safer than just having it out, and I can keep them all together. So that was it. That was sort of a little bit of an update. some spring projects, some current works in progress that I'm doing. We were all over the place today. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Coffee and Crochet in 2024. I don't even know what number this is, and until next time, happy crocheting, happy knitting, happy Tunisian crocheting, and happy spring. Bye, everyone.